Hi guys, welcome to another Mego Star Trek review, and today I have my Lieutenant Uhura action figure here, as you can see. And if you have this figure or any other retro style figure that is a female, then you will know they're a pain in the you-know-where to stand up. But just before I started this review, I put her down once and she stood. So yeah, she's regained all her loyalty. She's regained something at least, just because she's standing now. Bless her. Anyway, Nichelle Nichols played Lieutenant Uhura, and she was a very inspirational woman. If you didn't know the story, she was her fan mail was like kind of boycotted so that she wouldn't get any, just because she was, of course, black, and she was going to leave the show, but Martin Luther King told her to stay. You're inspiring millions and millions of young black people, old black people. You're just inspiring everyone, really. And yeah, it's a really, really cool story, that. She's quite an inspirational figure, if you pardon the pun. That's a good one, actually. Anyway, she's also going to space next month. To one of the space stations, so that's pretty cool. And from what I read, she added that she hopes someone takes some good photos. Bless her. She's 82 now, and she also had a minor stroke recently, about I want to say 2 months ago, perhaps. I may be overshooting, and it was just over a month ago, but pretty recently, so it's great that she's still getting on with everything. Anyway, here's the figure. Real hair, well, not real hair, but more synthetic hair, let's just say. To my knowledge, I've never ever owned an action figure that has synthetic hair. I've not even owned that many female action figures, now that I think about it. I could count all the ones I've had in my life. I had a Stephanie McMahon when I was younger, with my wrestling set, my ring and everything. She was cool. She had like a pink mini skirt on and blue pants underneath. What else? I've got a Martha Jones from Doctor Who, and Amy Pond from Doctor Who. Oh, I've got a Daphne and Velma from Character Options. They're quite a few years old now. They have plastic hair. Who else do I have? I've got some of those mini Star Trek figures about that tall that had the bases. They're like PVC figures. I've got a Uhura in that scale, and I have a Deanna Troi in that scale. God, do I have anybody else? Amy Pondo said. Yeah, that's it. I can't think. Leela in this scale, yeah. I don't know how I forgot about her. But yeah. I don't have that many female characters, and I've never had an action figure with actual synthetic hair. And it's not bad, considering how old it is. I'd assume that the EMC one has probably got like a nicer design with the hair, because of course, with age, this has gone in all sorts of directions, and depending on how much it was played with as well, I suppose. But it looks good, I have to be honest. I was kind of skeptical about it. The head sculpt is pretty good, actually. I think you really have to have the figure in hand to look at it. Looking at it on like an eBay listing or something, it doesn't look as good. But in person, I personally think it looks good. It does do her justice. She has her lips painted on and her eyes done nicely. That's pretty cool. And the hair also does get caught just under here in her neck joint. I just thought I'd mention that just in case you buy it. What I'd suggest is that you very carefully hold the neck joint, because that's where the elastic is housed within the neck joint, and pull the head off. And because it's one of the rubberiest, there you go, one of the rubberiest heads here from the Star Trek Mego collection, it should be pretty easy to do. And it's almost like a bobblehead, really, because of the way it's done with the elastic. She has a completely different uniform, obviously, as she is a woman, which was later eradicated within the Next Generation. They would all, for the most part, wear the same uniform, minus Deanna Troi with her catsuits, and now she's not standing. Doesn't matter. There's a slight rip in her collar thing here, which I'm not very happy with. It's nothing that's going to make me cry, but I thought maybe if I can get some like fabric glue that I can glue it down so it looks like it's still attached. But it's, whilst on display she looks awesome. I'm not looking at her collar, so it's slightly irritating, but I'm not going to do much about it. If I see a dress that's going on sale on eBay pretty cheap, then I'll probably buy it, I suppose. She's got very skinny arms actually, I just noticed, because I haven't really played with this at all, as in like moved it or anything. She has her mini dress, which I'm just going to lift up a bit so you can see here that she does have tights on, which look cool. And they don't have elastic in them, which I wish they did, because they can tend to fall down and then they'll bunch up like in the knees, so I'll just push them up a bit. Her Mego tag is in here somewhere, there it is. It's actually attached to one of the figures that still has it attached anyway. If I fold it out, you can just about make out the Meg from the Mego logo, but the O is sadly not with the figure. Oh well. The tights, how could I keep on forgetting it? The tights are made to be like a skin tone to her as well, so that's cool. But when you sit her on the bridge and she's sitting like that, it's kind of awkward, but I know they're tights, so it doesn't matter. Her dress is quite nice as well. It's pretty accurate length to the show. She has one gold band, which is actually coming off on this arm. Nothing that's going to ruin the figure for me, but if I could get some like a fabric glue, I could perhaps glue it down nicely. You know, just a drop will do it, because it's not like the whole thing isn't peeling off, it's just that much. So yeah, her shoes are removable, and as you can see there, she's got her foot at an angle so it can go in. Similar to the Spider-Man figure, how they did the jumpsuit, he didn't have shoes, he just had printing on the socks area, you could call it. Her boots are kind of disappointing, they're just solid black. And I think to myself, couldn't they have taken any of the detail that was on, let's just grab McCoy, on McCoy's boot here, couldn't they have put any of that on the side of here? But oh well, they're giving her a heel at least, so it's a female boot. She has a tricorder, pretty generic, I'll take it out anyway. And due to her bushy hair, I actually have to pull it down and over her legs. There we go. Pretty inaccurate as far as shape goes to the one in the show, but it looks good. Focus please. There we go. It looks good anyway, it's got all the compartments and everything, so I'm not complaining. And I'll just have to put it on in reverse as to how I took it off, essentially. Get it around her mini dress, and whoops, I completely forgot I need to take it over her wrist as well. There we go. She's very skinny as well, like I was noticing earlier, as you can see there. Her hands are quite small as well, which is a disappointing factor in my opinion, because the hands are actually kind of out of scale to me, in my opinion anyway. Let's just compare them to a bloke's hand. I suppose it's kind of accurate. I mean, they've made it with smaller hands at least, because if they're giving her those big hands, it wouldn't have looked good. So I take back what I said actually, I don't mind the hand size. Her articulation, she has a ball joint, and as you can see if I pull it up, she's attached with elastic, which I don't think is the original one that Mego had. It looks like a pretty basic rubber band you could get from a post office. But I don't mind. It's a bit loose than I'd like it to be. As you can see, she's wobbling quite a bit. But if it ever breaks, I can easily replace that. No problem. And a problem I've found with it being the way the joint is here, as you can see there, she does have a nice ab crunch style thing going on there, so that's good. But when I sit her down, as you can see, the dress does kind of get like sucked in because it's quite skinny here. So if I just pull the dress down, then it kind of fixes itself up. She's got articulation in the arms, which is also done with elastic, just not connected to the head part. She's got a bend in the elbow. Not as good as a bend as the one on the males. Swivel and hinge in the wrist. Legs can go out that far, and they're not really restricted by the tights either, so that's good. Bend in the knee. I'm not sure why they went with this whole different approach with her head. But, oh well, at least we got a ball joint with it, so I'm not complaining. Shame the other ones didn't have ball joints, but again, nothing major. And the trick I've found to standing this figure up, if you want to know how I do it, you just need to make her feet a bit wider apart and make them go out at a diagonal angle. And then she will stand. So yeah, this is great. I've got all the 6 original Megos now, and the bridge. So that is aces in my book. And as far as the bridge goes, what I'll do is I'll try and get all these uploaded with my terrible Sky Wi-Fi. If you live in the UK and you have Sky Wi-Fi, you know what's wrong with it. Tell me, why is it so bad? Their TV is so amazing, their Wi-Fi really does suck. No matter what I do, changing filters, turning it off, giving it chances to cool down, whatever, still messes with me. Oh well. Not important, but as I was saying, I'll try and get all these uploaded on my crappy Wi-Fi, and then I will do a review of the bridge, because it is just awesome. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed my review, guys, and actually it just occurred to me I didn't show you the back where the like copyright is. As you can see there. Can you make it out? It's a bit tricorder's in the way. Come on, there you go. I can see it. The camera just needs to focus. Mego. And as for the date, it's not printed on there. Oh well, doesn't matter. I'm not bothered. I just thought I'd show you that just in case anyone says down below, that's not an original Mego. Why didn't you show the thing on the back? The copyright crap? Oh well, doesn't matter. She is, and just one more thing before I go, I'll just compare her to a male, just for size. There's McCoy. Oh, I'm just going to have to stand now because his foot. Oh wait, no, he can stand himself. So that's cool. Putting him to the side now. This is really cool, this figure, and yeah, I've rambled on enough, eaten up far too much of your time with my little side stories and what have you. I just like to make my reviews as informative as possible. It's not a crime, I suppose, but anyway, I do hope you enjoyed my review, guys, and take care.